All right, this week I'll be talking about supplementation. So, like, first and foremost, before you get into supplementation, I'm big on getting like those 7 pillars in, like the from the previous videos that I've done before. Like, for instance, like going through pillars 1 through 7, making sure you have your support groups in order, both physically, and making sure you're going into digital content as well. That's not necessarily leads you down the victimhood mentality. You're getting into digital content that is inspiring you to become better. You're surrounding yourself with better people, and instead of the happy hour analogy that I usually use, like instead of going to happy hour on Fridays, you're going to the gym. So you're surrounding yourself with better people as well. You're getting your nutrition in. And you get that locked in, like making sure you're not like doing an elimination diet, like seeing which foods are pretty much jack you up, and which pretty much get you, in a sense, get you sick, and which foods are like kind of like meh, you can take them or leave them, and like which foods actually work great for you, because there's several different styles of eating, from the two extremes, like vegan, completely plant based, and carnivore, completely animal based, and the ones in between, pescatarian, vegetarian, keto, paleo, whatever works for you with your nutrition, and getting in your training, maybe things strength training, conditioning, maybe you're getting into martial arts and stuff that you're doing physical activity on a daily basis. For you, making sure you're getting enough sleep, and you get enough hydration with water. So for instance, if you're getting 7 hours of sleep and you're constantly tired and exhausted, you might want to up that to 8 hours, or maybe even 9 hours. And with hydration, you want to drink water instead of chugging stuff like soda and everything. So then you move into your mobility. You're getting in a stretching, dynamic, static, even yoga as well. You're getting in your mindfulness, you, in a sense, you're taking care of your mental health. You're doing things meditation, journaling, or if you need to get work with a therapist, counselor, whatever it takes to get mental health in order. And with 7, consistency, making sure you're doing that stuff on a daily basis. So where supplementation comes into play is you might have to look at your your unique situation, because sometimes you might need something that I might not mention or something. So the first and foremost thing that would be great, it would be a multivitamin. To this way you can get in your micronutrients. Now need to know the difference between a macro and a micronutrient. A macronutrient is things are your 3 things, fat, carbohydrates, and protein. So protein will help you function normal, physical normal functions, helping you your liver and kidneys, flush out toxins and stuff, help out your heart, making sure you're getting the amino acids from protein that your body needs to in a sense function. And you need carbohydrates and fats for in a sense energy. So analogy that I like to use with fats and carbs as your energy source. I mean, you can take protein and convert it into energy, but it's much more in stuff you can go into more in depth, but it's much more efficient to use carbs and fat for energy. So the analogy I like to use for that is your the thermodynamics and of how your body works. And in a sense, it's you're stoking a fire. Your carbs are you're kindling. They burn quickly, and and you kind of have to use a lot to keep the fire going. Whereas your fat is your logs that you put on the fire. They tend to burn slower but last longer. So and there's a whole way to track the macros with the apps like MyFitnessPal, and you can sit there and track it. Depending on your activity, you might need more and with the nutrition approach and everything. You might be someone that needs more fat versus more carbs, or vice versa, or you'd have to again get with the elimination diet with again in your nutrition, and see what works for you with like the three macronutrients. Now, like the micronutrients are things like your like vitamins, minerals, like vitamin A, B vitamins, vitamin D, E, K, and like your minerals, sort of like your electrolytes with the sodium, potassium, magnesium, and things like iron, copper, and like chromium, and like all little stuff that like the cells of your body need to do their normal cellular function and everything. So like a multivitamin comes in to kind of like acts as like an insurance policy to make sure that you're getting all those micronutrients on a daily basis and everything. So like and getting within tracking like your caloric intake might be higher or lower depending on your activity level. So like if like you're doing like what I'm doing, sitting, and you do that all day, you might only need like 1,800 calories a day. So like your micronutrient like intake might be a little lower as well. So like usually like the baseline is like 2,000 calories a day. So like you might be like maybe a pro athlete or something, so you might need something like 2,700 calories a day, and so like your micronutrient intake will be higher. So like you have to look at like your unique situation, like always. And so this is where like a multivitamin comes in like handy to kind of like act, like I said, act as like an insurance policy to make sure you're getting those micronutrients and everything. So like another supplement that would be like that you can take is fish oil. Now there's like that basically gives you what's known as omega-3 fatty acids, and the ratio between like fatty omega-6 and omega-3s is like you want more omega-3s because those tend to like act as anti-inflammatory products. So it's like they act as like this through the whole process of like oxidation. Now it's like you can get into the science and like behind it and everything, it's much more in depth, but like through like oxidation and everything, like your body, like I mean we can't stop aging, but like by increasing like omega-6s, like the stuff that you like find in something like peanut butter that tends to be higher in omega-6s, it tends to like speed up that process. Whereas like stuff like omega-3s will help slow it down. So that's why like you hear like a lot of things like about stuff having antioxidants. Like blueberries are probably like one of the greatest things for those, and like that's something I usually eat on a daily basis. And so like it helps negate that process as much as you can and everything. So like that's why you want to take a fish oil, is to help increase the omega-3, so that way like the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio kind of gets in better balance and everything. So like those two are like probably like some of the primary ones. Now vitamin D would be like as a supplement would be like a third one that you'd want to take, because like vitamin D deficiency is quite like a common deficiency, especially like here in the Northeast during winter and everything, when you're not getting outside and you're not getting enough like sun. So like to make sure that you're getting enough like vitamin D3, and that you can look into like how that helps and everything. I can't like off the top of my head think of like all the benefits and everything, but I'm assuming it's going to be like the antioxidant type thing that I just mentioned. So like now, like usually they like the places like the FDA recommends like 400 international units or IU's for like vitamin D, but like you'll probably like find a lot of people, myself included, like 400 IU's is actually kind of low. So like the stuff that I've come across is usually you want to hit 5 to 10,000 IU's. So like and vitamin D supplementation is like relatively cheap. Like I can spend like $20-25 for like a 400 count bottle at like Sam's Club or whatever. So like it's relatively cheap. So like the one I have like gets like has like 5,000 IU's in it. So like even like with now the weather's starting to turn, getting outside more, like it'd still be a good idea like with the vitamin D supplement to make sure you're getting enough, just like the same thing like the multivitamin. So like those would be like the three main ones that you'd want to take and everything. So like and also you like now going further into like your micronutrients, like you might want to look at like you might find yourself like, oh, I'm a little like with what I'm eating, and maybe I follow paleo diet, and like I'm taking a multivitamin. Even with all that, I can a little low on calcium, so like you might want to take like a calcium supplement, or you could be a little low on iron, or like any other micronutrients. So like this is where like further supplementation into like the micronutrients to make sure you're getting what you need and everything would be a good idea. So like another like a highly researched supplement is creatine. So like you find that like a lot of like especially people like bodybuilders and powerlifters, like so pretty much if like you're into lifting, you want to use creatine as a supplement to like help increase like your like energy output. So like the way the whole ATP system works is usually like you use creatine first before getting into like the ATP, ADP, or the whole like energy cycle that like your cells use. So like creatine would be a good another good thing that would be great for supplementation. So like a lot of times like you do find creatine naturally in things like red meat, like steaks and burger and hamburger, but like the amount that like to get like the 5 grams like that a lot of times they recommend that you get, you'd have to eat like an exorbitant amount of steak and burger to like be able to get that 5 grams. So this is why supplementing is like easy. So like and stuff that is like relatively cheap as well and everything. Like you can get like a creatine monohydrate, which is the common form of it, like probably like 200 servings for like $20 or something. So like you'd have to look at the prices. You can go to places like GNC. Like I usually go to like Dick's and pick that up because like I also pick up like gym equipment there as well. So like if you're someone that has like issues with the monohydrate, because there are some people that do have issues with monohydrate, you can get like the Cre-Alkaline or the HCl version, and so like you don't necessarily have to take as much as like the HCl version, which is the hydrogen chloride version, because it absorbs better, and like you don't necessarily have to take as much with that. So like you could get away with probably like 2.5 grams of the creatine HCl. So like and now like a lot of like you'll find that like a lot of like of course like when you go into places like GNC, you're going to find a lot of like bullshit when it comes to like supplementation. Like a video that pops to mind is like Athlete X that he did like years ago when his sidekick Jesse was first starting in. He's like pretty much rail thin, skinny, and like he went in looking for a fat burner, and he went undercover. And like fat burners aren't necessarily like a good thing, and they don't necessarily work that great. So it's like it's the same thing like the something like a CLA, conjugated linoleic acid. And so like a lot of the stuff that you'll find at like places like GNC is like just gimmicks and everything, so they can start selling more and everything. So like you can like that's the negative side of capitalism and everything, and that's what like a lot of people like are arguing against and everything. So like, but that's like a whole another argument and topic and everything. So like you don't necessarily want to go to GNC because like I said, they tend to push a lot of the bullshit for supplements and everything. So like outside the ones that I've mentioned and everything. So like another two that are like that can be beneficial but you don't need is like the most popular one is like protein powders. And like there's like several different brands. Like popular ones are probably like Gold Standard, or like Optimum Nutrition's Gold Standard. They tend to be popular, and like there's Dymatize, and of course Athlete X has their own version. So like you don't necessarily need a protein powder to like in a sense get enough protein, as long as you're like you're getting in like your protein from food, and like you want that protein from food as your primary source. But the protein powders are beneficial in that it can help you like reach that goal. So like a trick that like I use is like with a protein powder, like I'll sit there and like mix it in with like a milk when I'm having cereal or something. So like you can easily get like an extra 25-30 grams of protein with that. So like even though they're not necessary, they are beneficial and help you make sure that you're getting enough like protein intake. So like again, you have to look at like your activity level, and like there's a doctor that also brought out a book that like you're eating for like your blood type. And the one thing I remember from that is like me having like an O positive type blood type is like O's tend to need more protein type of deal. But like you'd have to get more, again, you have to get more into the science with something like that. So like someone like me might necessarily like even at a resting state like what I'm doing right here might need more protein like at a base or whatever. So like protein powders come in handy to be able to like be able to make sure that like you're getting in enough protein intake, because like especially like if you're lifting and everything. So like they got like the whole ratios that like that you can get into, like on how much protein you need, especially like if you're lifting, you're going to need more. If you're like you're like you have a highly physical job like construction, you're probably going to even need more. So this is where protein powders come in handy, and that they help you make sure that you're like getting enough. So like for instance, like with work, let's say if we're working in construction and like you are physically active outside, going to the gym, lifting and everything, you say you need like 200 grams of protein, and you can get say like 150 from it from food based on like your schedule and how you can eat and everything on your breaks and stuff. Protein powders can come in handy, and you can use a couple scoops through like after your workout or like throughout the day to maybe like get to that 200 grams that you need and everything. So like while not necessary, they are very beneficial and do come in handy. So like and like another one that like you don't necessarily need, and like one of the guys I follow on Instagram that was at the last Athlete X Live, Matt Wedden, he's a powerlifter, and like he's big on not using like energy drinks, because like with energy drinks of course you get a lot of chemicals and trash and that stuff. He's also big on not using pre-workouts, and you don't necessarily need a pre-workout to do that. Now, do they just like protein powders, do they come in handy? Yes. And can they be beneficial? Yes, because like the stuff that like they put in like your typical like a stimulant version of pre-workouts, things like beta alanine, like citrulline malate, caffeine, and stuff like that. That like they've been researched and see like, oh hey, look, this stuff is actually beneficial and everything. So like, but is pre-workout necessary? No. So, but it's like it's one of those like a bodybuilding type of supplements that you can use and you can find like a benefit from. So like anything, what you want to do is like talking like with me talking about supplementation is taking like, okay, this is what he's talking about, let me go like research and see where I fit on like in my unique situation, like getting back to like the micronutrients, like the multivitamin, and making sure you like if you're low on iron or calcium or still low on any of the other ones, like okay, well where can I like plug in the holes to help like with my nutrition, my health and everything, so that way I can pretty much be top notch when it comes to health, and like gearing towards like pulling into like the smart recovery aspect of like the fourth point of living a balanced life. It's like I can plug this in and help me achieve living that balanced lifestyle and everything. So like this is like while not necessary, that's because you know you could use like food for like things like one of the things they say is like liver is nature's multivitamin, so like you could use that instead of a multivitamin and everything. But like you have to like again look at your unique situation and like, okay, it's cheaper for me to buy a multivitamin versus maybe buying liver or a liver supplement. So like again, you have to look at your situation and see like, okay, like it might be cheaper and better for me to just get a multivitamin. Just like, okay, here's a multivitamin. It's easier for me to take and everything than cooking up liver or like taking a liver supplement or whatever. So like you need to like take supplementation and look at where like where you stand with like your like 7 pillars, especially when it comes to nutrition, and like where you can start supplementing like for instance like the multivitamin, making sure you're getting enough the micronutrients, maybe taking a protein powder like if you're not getting enough protein, to make sure you're getting enough of the macronutrients and everything. So like yeah, supplementation is in a sense like at the heart of it, like plugging in like the little gaps that you might find in your diet or nutrition, on however you want to call it and everything. So like this is where supplementation comes in handy. So like and now medical issues will probably come into play too, because you might be someone that has like a medical condition like a PCOS or diabetes or something. So like you might need medication, but like that is wholly dependent on your situation and everything. So like someone like me, I don't need medication, so like I don't have to worry about that. So like but again, what you may have to do is like you have to look at your situation and be like, okay, well, I can use supplementation for this, and this, but I need medication for this issue and everything. So like you have to like take like everything, keep reiterating and look at like your situation, like how do I take what people are saying and improve myself. So this is why I'm big on like with the getting impact into the first one, getting yourself into like into stuff that digitally like stuff, and reading with books and stuff to improve yourself, like so you don't fall back into like victim mindset and victimhood, sort of like what happens like with us, those of us, especially like with addiction, like we tend to start blaming others, like oh well, it's so and so's fault because I'm drinking or whatever. So like that's the kind of mentality you don't want. So like this is like how like we can take like this like the 7 pillars, and then like with this this topic of supplementation, kind of fill the holes and be able to like help lead us to like the balanced lifestyle that I mentioned with the fourth point. It can help with the other 3 points of like it can help us build and maintain the motivation, because like, oh hey, look, my life is improving, like and like it can help us with the urges to the point where like it no longer becomes a factor and everything. And like it helps us regulate our behaviors, emotions, and thoughts and everything. So like instead of thinking like the victim mentality that I mentioned, and trying to outsource the blame. Hey, look, it's not their fault, it's my fault. I need to fix this and everything. So like we can sit there and like interweave everything. So like supplementation is kind of like the next step, in a sense, in like I reiterate, plugging the holes in like that we see like in like are the 7 pillars, like especially with nutrition, and like helping us get to like taking it to the next step, like our training or something. So like and like with any like supplements like that I haven't mentioned, like you might will have to do like research and everything. So like most supplements, they're not necessary, but like the 3 most beneficial ones that that like if I had to pick just 3, the 3 would be like a multivitamin, uh, uh, vitamin D, and fish oil. Those would be the 3 that I would mention, like for anyone and everyone to take. So that way, like it can help like the stuff that I mentioned, like with the fish oil, getting your omega-3s, the multivitamin, getting your micronutrients, and like your vitamin D to help like with any and all deficiencies and everything. So like anything, you want to take and look at like how like supplementation can help you and where you need supplementation, and how like it can fit into your life.